In other news, an Iranian animation studio is set to release an action video game playing out confrontations between NATO and an imagined Iran-Russian alliance. Iran's Call of Duty is set to amaze users with top-notch graphics and realistic scenarios, while our team merges into the parallel reality with the game's developers.
Iran's army uses its UAVs and Russia's Sukhoi Su-jets to target warplanes of American and NATO intruders. This is one of the scenarios in a newly developed video game in Iran. Titled Revenge, the thrilling computer game shows who would win a potential confrontation between NATO and a military alliance between Iran and Russia. Revenge is designed by a team of young programmers in Iran's northeastern city of Mashhad.
In this game, a military alliance takes form between Iran and Russia. The group tries to neutralize the operations that are planned by the enemy against the allies of Iran and Russia. The alliance nips in the bud those operations before the enemy is able to carry them out. So the game is not about waging a war, but it's about preemptive strikes launched on the enemy's soil to thwart the enemy's attacks.
The video game is comprised of 7 levels. In its first chapter, gamers need to penetrate a U.S. biological laboratory in Ukraine that generates mutated viruses that turn Ukrainian soldiers into zombies to attack Russian troops. The gamers try to stop the virus from spreading.
One of the missions pulled off by Russia during the Ukraine conflict was to seize US biological labs in Ukraine that have been producing dangerous viruses. So we thought it is better to make this story more interesting and create an apocalyptic scenario in the game. So in this first phase of the game, the US tries to compensate for its defeat in Ukraine by producing zombie viruses among Ukrainians to defeat Russia in the war.
The military equipment at the disposal of Iran, Russia and the U.S. are depicted in the game in their subtlest details. Dimensions, capabilities, the speed of the aircraft, and even military tactics reflect the real-time versions, making the game sound as realistic as possible.
The F-35 is a legendary American fighter jet which was simulated in the game. In the game, we show that the plane engages in a dual battle with an Iranian drone. The Iranian UAV flies stealthily and destroys the F-36 jet. Russia's S-300 and S-400 and Iran's Bevar 737 defense systems are also available in the game.
Its top-notch graphics, coupled with its innovative and creative action scenes and tactical scenarios, have won the game the title of Iran's Call of Duty.
We try to develop the game to be on a par with games like Call of Duty. The game resembles American and world-class games in terms of graphics and quality, despite our limited facilities.
The company has also produced several animated films. One of them is called Battle of the Persian Gulf, whose theme is a potential armed conflict between Iran's armed forces and U.S. Navy in the Persian Gulf. The film has received mixed reactions from Iran and the U.S.
This animation made a lot of noise on CNN, BBC, Associated Press, Bloomberg, Washington Times, The Guardian and other major news outlets. At that time, Trump's fans took to Twitter and called for demonstrations against this animation. On the other side, Russian and Chinese news outlets were pleased with the fact that our animation depicted such a rivalry between Iran and the US in the Persian Gulf.
Apart from the thrill factor, Revenge seems to be bridging reality with the virtual world, with strong messages that could be seen as directed at Iran's long-standing foe, the U.S. Yusuf Jalali, RT, Mashhad.